I'm getting paid to work at a game that I traditionally would have been watching on TV. Sitting at home thinking, what am I doing? I should be doing something else. I should be doing something in my life. But now I'm literally at that broadcast that I would probably be watching. So it's just pretty surreal, actually. So this week started nearly exactly where last week's episode ended, in the middle of the Big South men and women's basketball tournament at the office of Tupelo, Honey, and it finished with maybe the biggest moment of my career, of my life, of everything, kind of. It may have been one of the bigger weeks in my whole entire life, definitely in my career. It ended with the men's and women's Horizon League championships live on ESPN 2 and ESPN. No U, no 2, no plus, just ESPN, those four famous letters. I was the game camera for that game, but before we talk about that, I want to talk a little bit more about the Big South tournament in the Tupelo Honey office and where I started out my week. Tupelo Honey is kind of the place where I got my career start, and they have a nice little office setup. When the pandemic hit, they were really one of the first companies to kind of do the REMI broadcast, the remote broadcast. So the cameras and somebody else is at the venue, at the game, with the cameras and everything set up, but they're sending their signal across the country or across the state or across wherever to the studio where I work. They have this big warehouse in the back where they keep their trucks that they send to the sites, where they have all their equipment and everything, and they have all the storage and all of this random things. They have microphones back there, they have hardware tools, they have a variety of different things in the back warehouse, but if you make your way to the front, it's kind of a whole different setup. They have an area for food for when they have big venues and big events, so obviously there will be days where people are spending 10, 12 hours there, so you need to feed them, they need to be fed, so they'll bring in catered food. But also, they have three different studios. Well, four actually, but three different studios. Star Fox, Mario, and Luigi, all named after video games characters. It's kind of funny. In each studio, there are a variety of different roles. There is the tape room, first of all, which is replay. So when you're watching TV and they go to replay, it's coming from that room. There's an RO, the person that is building packages like that you'll see that go to break when there's a bunch of clips thrown together. And then there's just another replay person who is just rolling back clips as the broadcast goes on. There's also a graphics person or associate producer that's responsible for all of the little stats you'll see during the game, or like big left slab graphics you see of like how a player's doing that day or the best players in the conference. That's coming from the graphics op. And then there's the director, who has all the buttons, all the big shiny buttons in front of them. They're looking at all the cameras, they're taking the best shots, they're using the different graphics, the different transitions, they're sending us to replay, they're bringing us back out of replay. They're really directing the traffic of what's being seen during the broadcast. And then there's the producer, who's kind of the head honcho, really directing traffic, calling out what shots, where you're going, what's being seen on the broadcast, what ads you need to get in, when you're going to break, where the breaks are coming from, a lot of different things. The producer is kind of the supervisor of the broadcast in a lot of ways. And then there's the bug op, and that is what I do the most of. It's essentially when you're watching the broadcast, the scoreboard on the bottom of the screen, you see obviously the two teams, their numbers, their timeouts, the fouls, and occasionally off the top of that or off the sides, you'll see little things, little stat comparisons pop up or come off the sides, and that's what I control. That would be my job typically whenever I do these broadcasts. Now the Big South tournament, I won't go on too much about it, but it was the men's and women's tournaments, and there were a few games on ESPNU, ESPN2, but none on the big hotshot ESPN, and I've almost gotten comfortable with bug op games on what are called linear shows. Linear is when it goes to like ESPN or ESPN2, like national channels. That's called a linear show, whereas when it's on ESPN Plus, it's just called digital. I've worked a handful of linear broadcasts now as a bug op, and it's not as stressful or as daunting or as dramatic as it once was, because I'm not used to it, but I've gotten more comfortable with it, just with gaining more experience. Now that I kind of talked you through the studio, enough about that, I want to talk more about the Horizon League Championship and those 2 days, which came directly after the Big South tournament. I was a cameraman for the Horizon League Championships, and it was my first ever linear event as a cameraman. It's interesting because like it feels kind of like any other camera gig in a lot of ways. About like a lot of these people are people that I work with normally, and I'm just here, I'm just doing a basketball game at the place that I've done several basketball games before and some fuel games and different events and everything, but it's different because it's just a higher profile. It's a bigger game, it's a bigger deal. There's more money into it, there's more emphasis on the game, there's more impact of the game. It changes a lot more things. There's a lot more money involved just in general, beyond just the broadcast, also with on the court and everything. I mean, they built a whole new court just for this tournament. So in a lot of ways it feels familiar, but in a lot of ways, like on the back end or on the underbelly of it, kind of, it's dramatically different. It's nothing that I've ever seen before, but it's great. And I'm so happy to be here. Oh, man. With the men's championship ending up on ESPN, not ESPN2, not ESPNU, not ESPN Plus, the ESPN, the one. And it still boggles my mind, and I'm still so blessed to get this opportunity. I genuinely can't believe it. When I was game cam, so when you're watching the game, it's like the main camera you see. I'm just panning left and right, and there's a certain pressure that comes with that, although it's kind of the easiest camera gig because it's not really that dynamic. You don't have to track super hard. You're just staying big and wide, and you're just panning left and right and trying to keep everything in your frame. But sometimes they'll get the ball pushed in the post, and then you'll get sucked in, and then they'll kick it back out beyond the arc, and you'll have to snap back out, and you may miss the ball for like a 0.2 seconds or so. And that happened to me once or twice, maybe 2 or 3 times over the 2 days. And when it did happen, I got not yelled at, but corrected of sorts. Of the producer would say, 1, can't lose that ball. And the director would relay the message, camera 1, you can't lose that ball. I know this. And it just happens that I happen to lose the ball for a half second. I guess my job is to not lose the ball at all, so maybe I shouldn't get sucked in that much, but hoo-ha. Anyways. It happened once during the men's championship game, which is the game on ESPN. At like near the very beginning, they tipped off the ball, and I believe they like passed it around for a second. And they got down the court, and they made a quick pass down in the corner. Didn't even know the guy was there in the corner, so I didn't know I wasn't ready for the ball to go there. So I missed the ball for not even half a second, but I got corrected again, and after that happened, I had to do my best for the next minute or two just to make sure I did not have a full-fledged panic attack, because it was gonna happen. It was definitely gonna happen. Luckily, I was able to calm myself down and collect myself, and I think I actually am doing a pretty dang good job for what is expected of me, I guess. I feel like I did a good job, and then I later got that confirmation from the director and producer afterwards, which felt great. Also, both the director and the producer took time out of their tearing down at the end of the day, and 2 other cameramen were just there when the director mentioned it, but both the director and the producer took time out of their evening after we were done to take a moment and congratulate me or tell me I did a good job and that they appreciate my work and that I did a really good job the whole time. So that really hit the nail in the coffin. And the director gave me some incredibly nice words about how I did a good job and how he believes me and has the utmost confidence in me to do anything I want to do. And that was when the other cameramen were there that I have not met, cameramen that I don't know, who were like, yeah, you were the one on the broadcast, man. You were the main camera. It's the most important camera. You did that. And justification, what's the word? Realization, justification, reiteration, reinforcement, re-encouragement. I can't think of what the word is right now, but it just really drilled home the point that, like, through all my stress, through all my pain or my worried or my nerves or my whatever, sweaty palms, I did a good job. And that's all that fucking matters. That's all that fucking matters. Yeah. Oh, man, I'm genuinely high on life right now. Like, I've never been high before. Never ever been high before. Definitely not. But if I had been, I think this is what it would feel like. I am totally sober and I feel buzzy and wiry and genuinely high on life. Fuck. Wow. This is my job. That's crazy. This is my job. I got paid to do this. I would have done this for free. I got paid to do this. Holy fuck. Something about this event, something about getting my first linear camera gig really kind of re-sparked a fire with me. I feel like I've said that a lot in recent history, and I feel like I'm overusing it now, but this one I think is actually real because it actually caused me to take action. When I got back, and you've probably seen a few clips of it spliced in here, but I was extremely emotional and couldn't believe what I had just done. And then since then, the past 2 days, I have acted on a few things that have helped me or will help me make like steps forward in my career or just get more work. I applied to the union yesterday in Indianapolis, which allowed me to get just a lot more variety of work. I'll be working different concerts and different things, and they have a lot of work because venues will ask them for help when they have performance and stuff come to their area. I also reached out to 2 other people. PPI, they crew random events in Indianapolis, and there's people called ISC. They kind of do smaller, lower level broadcasts, but I know a lot of people that work with these people, and I think hopefully in the coming months I'll get more work from them, and it really just helped me fill out my calendar more easily rather than relying on just a few places to give me more work. I'll have more places that hopefully I'll get less work from, but overall to fill out my schedule more. Anyways, yeah, that ESPN broadcast really just, I think, reminded me that I can do this shit. I can do this. I can be good at this. If I actually put my mind to it and really try, I can be good at this. And this shit is just the start. It's only gonna get better from here. So I'm blessed. I'm excited. I think I chose the right job, people. I think that's what it is. Anyways, I've been your host, Matthew Stein. You've been fantastic as always, and I'll see you in next week's episode of this thing that I do. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for being a part of it. I'm glad I'm documenting this because it's pretty crazy. Man, see you.